Hi there everybody, lords, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls and all the rest of that. This is the great and glorious, soon to be famous one day Nick Dutch back on the camera yet again for another delightful video. Now, I'm doing this recording straight from the webcam primarily because of an experiment. I haven't done this for a very long time. I just wanted to see whether I could actually still record live and still come up with coherent arguments and all the rest of that without going through the luxuries of doing some editing. Now the reason I'm coming online now, it's nothing special really. I just wanted to tell you about what I've been up to as far as my kind of like occult and religious ideas kind of research. Spurred on by the meeting with the local witchcraft group, or the social group that happened to be witchcraft orientated, I went to a few nights back. I decided to have a look into Wiccan traditions just a little more, and I came to, I guess, a few ideas, a few thoughts or feelings regarding the way that Wicca has been designed, so to speak. I mean, yeah, of course, there's lots of connections to folklore, but there's also a lot of, invention which has gone into Wicca. I mean, all religions are being reinvented by every single individual who adopts them or works with them or somehow uses or exploits the ideas inherent in any form of religion. But I was thinking very much about the way in which rhyme and chanting is used, in particular in Wicca. There's always this rather slow rhythm. If you go through the Wiccan Read, for instance, you see that there is, rhythm and meter, and there's a sense of there being something repetitive and hypnotic. The use of words is of an oldie worldy kind of like nature, which also has an extra impact. If you're doing any form of meditation or trance work and you're using words, you have to think about the semantic effects of those words upon like your state of mind and the ideas which you're absorbing. So the whole thing seems to be to almost tranquilize the mind, to assist you to, get totally focused and reach a potential state of complete calm, which I thought was really rather fascinating way of seeing the use of poetry or religious ritual. So that in its own right is fascinating. The other aspect is the law of attraction connection. When I did that, which is meeting, so to speak, a lot of the things they talked about had a direct correlation with the law of attraction stuff that I'm sure we've all heard so much about. Because these people would use their rhythmic chanting as well as focusing on the thing that they wanted to create, and then they would apparently discover a strong correlation between what they were meditating on when they were doing their chanting, praying and all the rest of it, and what apparently subsequently happened. I was reading I mean, you can just go onto Google and type in things such as candle magic, Wiccan principles and the rest of it, and apart from the occasional Viagra advert which seems to sort of come in on the first couple of pages on Google, which is peculiar, okay, there's plenty of people who are more than happy to express their own interpretation of stuff. And one lady had this, what in practice I suppose is a blog, but it's basically a website. It's written in a very blog-like style, and she talks about using this sort of spell casting, so to speak, in order to and for the purposes of trying to get herself a car parking space when she needs it. So what she would do is she would visualize the car parking space, and apparently, hey presto, it would happen. Obviously there's issues of testability and repeatability there, so essentially that's not necessarily something that we can rely upon, but this shows, I suppose, some of the ways in which the beliefs can occur. Obviously there's a very strong psychological component. If we take into account the rhythmic chanting, the visualization, the prayerfulness, the fact that it is regarded as being a religious exercise, plus the visualization. Yes, if you're very skeptical, you might say that the individual is mentally preparing themselves to have some kind of self-fulfilling prophecy type situation, namely they're visualizing, in this particular example, a car parking space, and then a car parking space appears, and then the assumption is generated that, hey presto, the magic worked. So there's little ways in which a person could possibly hoodwink themselves into thinking that there is a result there. But people do talk about these alleged results, and it is curious stuff. If you've been a follower of my videos for a while, you will probably get the feeling that I assume that the more testable or the more repeatable things, not reliably repeatable, but more repeatable stuff, would include like your remote viewing type exercises and spiritual healing type exercises, because then the person you're sending the healing to can often have a sensation which is equivalent to, or again has some kind of connection to, what you're trying to achieve in terms of distribution of this, in inverted commas, energy type stuff. So I do have an issue with the idea of creating results in the outer world, but on the other hand, even if it doesn't, so to speak, work, that's there's no harm done. So you might as well just play around with it and see how things go. With the blogs and web pages that I've been reading that were much more sort of candle magic orientated, I found that very interesting. Again, these people are still using very sort of homely words, very safe sounding words, very rhythmic chants, and of course with something which these people who are doing these exercises could regard as being special and fun and therefore sacred. And I thought, what would happen if someone was using, let's say, the methodology of candle magic, but not for the purposes of trying to create an outer world result, but trying to create an inner world result. Let's say someone is a business person and they want to be much more sensitive or receptive to the possibility of seeing where there is a business opportunity, of seeing where there's an opportunity for revenue. So they could do like a candle magic money spell, basically, to do something psychologically to themselves, so that they can start thinking more about where the next source of revenue is coming from, and other ideas about marketing and all the rest of that kind of stuff. And they were to do this and to start to develop the trying to program themselves using the burning of, let's say, either a green or a yellow candle in a certain manner in a space which they have made sacred, and it's become like a fun, pleasant, almost escapism thing for them to do. And so the area becomes sacred to their own mind, or part of their own hypnotic world. The actual exercise itself becomes either sacred or special in one way or another. Yeah, I mean, that could give them a bit of auto-suggestion or hypnosis to help them to watch out for the opportunities where the next sale could be coming from, and so on and so forth, which is in its own right important and special. But let's say they were doing this and something came along which really burst their bubble, destroyed the illusion for them. How would that affect that sort of like an inverted commas candle magic type effect that they're trying to create? How would that actually affect the ability of the individual to successfully use that as a auto-hypnosis or self-hypnosis tool for the purposes of training their brain to look out for other sources of sale opportunities? Would it actually work if these people were taken away from their soft, fluffy little nexuses, these situations where they feel safe and their candle burning ritual is their fun and friendly thing? These are things that I suppose one has to think about, and we do have to think about the impact of destroying someone's illusion or nexus, or special time, or whatever you want to call it, that is associated with these exercises. And the fact that that could actually, in some cases, be detrimental to them if they're using the exercise psychologically, and therefore spiritually, because the word spiritual, as I'm sure you know through seeing my videos, I regard as being to do with the spirit or the essence, or indeed your own mind. So is it always a good thing to aggressively attack some forms of superstition or magical ideas? To which I would probably have to say that's a very grey area, because it does depend upon the individual and how essentially they're using their weird stuff and what, you know, what they're trying to achieve with their weird stuff. Okay, just a few thoughts for today. Yeah, I'm going to go back to higher resolution shortly, so I do apologize for this, but it's not off-the-cuff video, and it's late, I'm tired, I've got a slight head cold, and I'm certainly not in the mood to do any editing, so I do apologize for that big time, alright? And I will definitely look forward to speaking to you very, very soon. Oh, baby.